Hello everyone, Miss Harwood here to walk you through practice 2.4 using Finale Notepad. I know that sometimes it's a little bit easier to have a step-by-step guide and to be able to see what your assignment should look like so that you can check it. Feel free to pause this recording at any time or to rewind it and go back to see another part of it. And then at the end, if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to get in touch with me. And then remember that you want to submit your piece, your Finale Notepad file, to the Dropbox for 2.4 practice in order to get credit for that. This is the required assignment, not the extra credit assignment. So when you open Finale Notepad, it's actually going to give you the prompt for your title of your piece. But if it doesn't, you're going to go ahead and click on File and then New. And again, you're going to get the screen Document Setup Wizard, and you're going to give your composition a name. Your assignment says to call it Familiar Song 2. But if you want to give it a more creative title, you may. And then, of course, the composer is you. Go ahead and put your name in the composer section. You can leave the page size as it is. On the next page, we're going to pick our instruments. And we're going to go to blank staff and just go ahead and double click on blank staff. See how it adds it here on the right. Now, if you did click on the wrong thing, you can always remove that staff and add the one that you want. And then go ahead and click next. Then on the third page here, we're going to select a time signature. Now we're going to use a little bit different time signature than we've worked with in the past. We're going to go ahead and click on the 6/8 time signature. And then our key signature is G major, and you change your key signature by going up or down. Since we're going sharps, and sharps raise the pitch, we're going to go up. Just one click to G major. See how we've got our one sharp here on the staff. And then go ahead and click finish. So again, what you're going to have is this blank document that you can work in. Okay, on the second page of the directions, you're going to see some reminders about the different tools that you can use to work on your piece. And then I'm going to move right on to page 3 and start writing the song. So we're going to go ahead and click on the 8th note. Again, remember, if you hover your mouse over any of these things up at the top, it's going to remind you of the name. Your directions also have the pictures to help guide you. So you're going to click on the 8th note. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and place our first note on the G line, which is the second line from the bottom. Remember, every good boy does fine, or whatever device you use to remember those note names. The other way to remember it is, remember, in treble clef, this little piece right here wraps around the G line. So it reminds us that this second line is the G. Remember, if you make a mistake, you can use your eraser tool here at the top. Click and it's going to go away. Or remember, when we see our notes, they're purple like this, it means we can move them up or down. So say I accidentally put it on in a space instead of on the line. I can go ahead and press my down key to put it on the right space. I can also click on it and drag it down. Or I can press the delete key and it goes away. So there are lots of ways that you can manipulate this software. Go ahead and use the way that is easiest for you. So we've got our first note on the page, and we're going to enter then our second note, which is a G, then another G. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our quarter note tool, G, and then back to the 8th note tool here at the top, and then an A. So this is our first measure. Now we're going to enter a dotted quarter note. So we're going to go up here and select the quarter note, and then we're also going to click on this little dot here, And you can see when I bring my mouse down, you can see the note with the dot attached to it. So in our second measure, we're going to put a B. And then we're going to get rid of our dot. So you just click on it again. Oops, sorry. There we go. If you click on it again, it should go away. If you leave, you have to take your mouse off to see it disappear. And then we're going to add an A. And then we're going to go back for our eighth note and enter a G. So this is what your first two measures should look like. Then we're going to go back up and grab our quarter note. We're going to put in an A. And then back to the eighth note, G. Back to the quarter note, A. Oops, see, I made that mistake, so I can just drag my mouse down onto the right note. And then our last note in this measure is an eighth note B. So again, measures 1, 2, 3 are complete. And then at the bottom of page 3, we're going to start our directions for measure 4. Again, we're going back to the dotted quarter note, or excuse me, we're going to a dotted half note, which means we want to find the half note here at the top. Remember, let your mouse sit for a second and it'll bring up the name. And then we're going to add a dot to it as well. And then we're going back to the G. Remember, as you add notes, you might find that new measures appear. Don't worry about it. It's just the software making some automatic adjustments so that the music looks good on the page. Okay, now let's go ahead and listen to what we've done. So you go up to the top and you just press the play button. Okay, and then you can stop at any time. It'll keep playing through these blank measures if you leave it playing, but because there's nothing in there, of course, there's nothing for it to play. So looking at page 4 of the directions, we're going to start with measure 5, and we're going to go to our dotted quarter note. So you can just go up here at the top and find quarter note, and we're going to leave the dot selected. Again, as you can see as I move it, the quarter note with the dot on it. And we're going to go to the B, which is the third line. Again, remember, every good boy does fine. The third line, the middle line, is the B. Then we're going to go and get rid of our dot. So you click on the dot and it goes away. We're going to do another B. And then we're going to go to the eighth note and put on a C. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, measure 5 is complete. Now we're looking at measure 6, and we're going to go down onto the second line here. And we're going to add 2 dotted quarter notes. So we're going to go up to the top, find our quarter note, find our dot. And these are on D. And we can just click it twice. And you see, let me show you that again. As soon as I clicked in this measure, see how it moved up to the first line? So don't let that throw you. Don't think, oh no, my note disappeared. Where did it go? It just sometimes, again, automatically adjusts where the measures are on the page, and you can't stop it from doing that. So if your note disappears, go ahead and look back on the previous line. It might have just moved on you. So we've got our 2 D dotted quarter notes. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of our dot for measure 7. And we're going to start on C, which is the third space, F-A-C. And then an eighth note, B. A quarter note, C. And an eighth note, D. So what I hope you're starting to notice is that we do have this pattern that sort of repeats quarter note, eighth note, quarter note, eighth note throughout the piece. So like I said, we're working in 6/8 on this piece, so it has a little bit different sound than the 4/4 that we worked on the last piece. It's a little bit more of a lilting sound, like you hear a lot in Celtic music, for example. So we're going to go ahead and look at measure 8 now, and we're going back to our dotted half note, and the dot, and we are putting that on the B line, the third line from the bottom. Measure 9. Again, we're just working our way through this. We're going to go to a dotted quarter note. So select your quarter note. The dot is still there. Going to the G line. And then disappearing, letting go of the dot. A regular quarter note. And then an eighth note on A. We're going back to our dotted quarter note. You notice we're moving to that dotted note quite a bit. And we're going to have two B's. B as in boy. And then measure 11. We're going back to our regular quarter note, so click the dot. And then A, eighth note, G, quarter note, A, eighth note, B. So you're starting to see some of our similar shapes. For example, we can see that measure 3 and our last measure are the same. Measure 11 are the same. So we're starting to see some repetition within this piece as well. So measure 3 and measure 11 are identical. And if we look here at the first measure here in this line, measure 7, you can see it has the same shape, but slightly different notes. C to B to C to D. And this one has A to G to A to B. So when we listen to the playback, we're going to hear some similar sounds. Okay, moving on to measure 12. We're going to go to the quarter note, and we're going to put the G. And now we're going to add something we haven't added yet. We're going to add a rest. So you can see here we've got our rest toolbar. Yours might be in a slightly different spot, but it should be somewhere here at the top. And you're going to click on the 8th rest. And you're going to add it to this measure. So that creates that stop in the melody, a moment of silence in the piece. And then we're going to add a quarter note on D and an eighth note on D. So we've got 2 lines of music complete now. Okay, then we are going back to our G's. Remember our treble clef or G clef tells us where G's are. So we're going to go quarter note. Oops, see, and see how it moved up to this line? Eighth note, quarter note, 3 G's in a row, and then an eighth note on A in that second space. So we just completed page 4 of the directions. Moving on to page 5 and measure 14. So we've got 3 B's as in boy. Our first, a dotted quarter note, and then a regular quarter note. Oop. Remember, you can drag that right up into the spot, and then an eighth note. Measure 15, our directions tell us is the same as measure 11, so we're going to go up and find our selection tool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You could also grab measure 3 if you wanted. But we're going to go ahead and click on measure 11, and we're going to drag it into our first blank measure. And you can see how you get, if you don't have it right, your square won't wrap right. And then as you drag it over, see how it turns green? That lets you know that it's in the right spot. Or it might just watch the black outline. And when it's wrapped all the way around the measure you want it in, you can let it go. Remember, if you make a mistake, go ahead and delete your notes and try again. No problems. That's the nice thing about the software. Nothing is set in stone. Then the final measure is identical to measure 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See our dotted half note? We're going to click on the measure and drag it down into our first empty measure. Again, looking for the outline to be all the way around the measure that we want to put it in. Okay, so then go ahead and we're going to listen to the piece for a second. So you're going to press your play button. Okay, so hopefully you've recognized the piece. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I guess it's a common nursery rhyme song. So if you do know what it is, make sure you tell me when you submit your assignment. So we've worked our way through just using some of the tools in Finale. And then in the second part of the assignment, you're going to create your own piece, okay? And this is the one that I really want to have in the Dropbox is your own composition. Your composition has some requirements. It needs to be 16 measures long. So when you create your new piece for this, and we'll call this, we'll give it a name real quick so I can get to the next page. Um, and you can use any instruments that you want. Feel free to play around. Some of you were very creative with our last assignment, so don't be afraid to try something new. And then here at the bottom with the number of measures, you can go ahead and change that to 16 unless you want to write a longer piece, which you're welcome to do. And then you can change the time signature. You can select whatever key signature you want it to be in. If you want it to be in a minor key, you could do that as well. So this is kind of up to you what you want to do with this. And then again, so give your piece a title, select the time and key signatures and the instruments that you want. And then make sure to include a variety of notes and rests. So don't forget about this rest toolbar here at the top. You've got lots of options. And then make sure that your piece has a clear melody line. So maybe you'll use two instruments. Maybe you'll use a piano, something where you can put the melody on one line and a harmony on the other line. And then make sure that there is some melodic repetition. There should be at least two melodic patterns that are repeated in the piece. So remember when we look at measure 3, measure 11, and measure 15, those are all the same. So that's a repetition of a melodic pattern. And then we also see, remember, this common rhythmic pattern, quarter note, eighth note, quarter note, eighth note, and we see it quite a few times in the piece, even though there are different notes. So you're going to want to find some melodic and rhythmic elements that you repeat in your song. Remember that you can also change the tempo of your piece up here at the top. Smaller numbers are slower, bigger numbers are faster. You can use your expression tool to give your piece dynamics. You can use your articulation tool to do things like staccato. And then make sure that you listen to your piece and make sure that everything is right before you save it. Once you've finished, I want at least your original composition. Feel free to submit this piece of the assignment as well. Otherwise, tell me if you recognize the song in the comment box when you submit your assignment. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to get in touch. I'm happy to help you use Finale Notepad or answer any questions you have about composing, or if you need help with your composition, please get in touch. You can reach me via Kmail. You can also always call on the phone, and that information is in the teacher contact section of the class. Thanks for watching.